Here we are. We're live again. Wayne and I are back and have some takeaways we can talk through. Yeah, I think that what's interesting is that there's so many types of organizations that can find value in data marketplaces. I've been really struck at the range of public sector organizations, cities, other governmental entities, and then within the private sector. I think really across verticals, there are more and more types of enterprises that can gain a lot of value from actively sharing data and creating marketplaces for buyers and sellers. Also, the range of domains, I think, will only increase, especially as organizations adopt more and more data science cases.
Yeah, and it's really, we're just at the beginning as companies discover how plug and play these technologies are. I think you'll see a lot more companies starting data marketplaces in their area, their sector. It says big ecosystems, think big and be creative about the types of parties that might find value in a given data set.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think the range of ecosystems that can contribute data sets or potentially consume it, I think building on the first point, it's not just the types of companies that can benefit from participating, but also the types of companies that might ultimately consume data through other types of exchanges after it's on the marketplace. Pretty rich ecosystem and a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, I'm not sure what the right word is, but it's like this, you get all these different players together in one place where it's simple to communicate and collaborate. It can create this huge synergy, right? That can generate things that no one anticipated could happen. But by bringing all these folks together in a frictionless environment, I think it's going to be a huge amount of innovation that comes out of these ecosystems.
Definitely. And it'll be very interesting to see, just to build on that point briefly, what the conversation is a year from now. When we do a TechFin on this topic in 16 months, 18 months, to what degree is data science playing a role there? Because there's so many types of artifacts that you can start to create and share, machine learning algorithms and so forth, to take advantage of this stuff. So a lot of opportunity. The third item here is big requirements. Wayne's got, I think, some more detailed thoughts on the key evaluation criteria. I think frictionless sharing is a theme that came up again and again, and the need to enrich and delight the consumer experience. Couldn't agree more with some of the panelists' conversations or comments on the need to ultimately deliver value to consumers, the folks who are taking advantage of the data, beyond simply creating a marketplace.
Yeah, wholeheartedly agree. All right, number 4. Okay, social networks contribute to the value of data marketplaces by engaging many users.
Yeah, and I think that the more you can leverage that as a participant in a marketplace, the better. There are so many different ways to engage people these days. You'll really want to tap into existing methods of exchanging information and ideas, and folks who contribute to their networks and bring them into exchanges, I think will create even more value.
Yeah. The panel said that the marketplaces essentially formalize these social networks and probably turbocharge them.
Very much.
Number 5, marketplaces should leverage these networks, social networks, rather than trying to supplant them.
Okay. Yeah, and I think just building on the first point, the notion is that you want to tap into existing methods that organizations have to interact with each other.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay. 6, data marketplaces should start with internal users, demonstrate value, then go external. I think that will definitely happen, not in all cases for sure. Like After Eyes, it's going right to an external data marketplace, right? But I think a lot of companies have to experiment and work out the legal and security issues about sharing data across organizational boundaries, before they participate in these things.
Yep, agree. And I think that you want to have sort of a test case, a sandbox where you're working out some of the kinks before you go broad.
Yeah.
And I think I have one final point here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was struck looking at your framework, Wayne. I think that data marketplaces are going to want to tap the broadest range of potential parties to engage with in the broadest ecosystem. And so all the marketplaces that are focused on one platform are the big platform owners, the ones that already have incredible scale, Snowflake, Databricks, and so forth. If you're going to be a pure play marketplace, I think an evaluation criteria to make sure that they're reaching the right folks is that they're more platform agnostic.
Yeah, I think, Amazon was the first data platform vendor to establish a data marketplace. And now everyone feels all of their direct competitors in the data management and cloud space feel compelled to match them. But from what I'm hearing, companies the data providers who want to create a, enriched data storefront like CoreLogic did, they're going to turn to the specialty vendors. And companies that have products, they may put them on the tech vendor marketplaces kind of for marketing purposes, but they really want to push people to their own storefronts to actually do deals, right? So I think that's an interesting dynamic. See if that plays out.
Yeah. So Wayne, I think you've got some takeaways here as well that we can go to.
I do. And before I mentioned some of them, there's one trend I forgot, but in talking with Ian Stahl from Informatica in his booth, he kind of touched on it, the importance of metadata. He sees a lot of their marketplace customers coming from the data governance space, and they've built a data catalog, and then they're like, okay, now what? How do we make this actionable? We got all this metadata, we spent all this time and effort, but it's just metadata. So the way to make a catalog actionable is to turn it into a data marketplace, or at least be able to take the assets from the catalog and turn them into products that you can publish in the marketplace. So that's a trend I'm going to add to my presentation.
We
And I've
actually
got
had an interesting conversation about metadata. We have found an avid reader of Jay's recent blogs on metadata in our in the Eckerson group lounge table. So
no
metadata is
kidding.
something. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Someone's going down that rabbit hole with Jay, huh?
Yes, he was thrilled to find it.
Okay, one key. These are all from the panel. So Ian Gilbert said the key is to focus on the business value for data consumers, not data monetization. I think you kind of emphasized that in your points on the previous slide.
Yeah.
It's all about the consumer and the value you provide to them, not the money. Although we had a little bit, I guess, a contrary opinion, which we'll get to in a second. So Didier Naves from Docs said data marketplaces require new roles like data monetizer, data productizer, data compliance specialist. And I think that's so true. We're working with a client now that is a prime candidate for a data marketplace. And they're kind of resource constrained, it's a government entity, but they're going to need people who specialize in creating those data products, even though they're really easy to do. But someone's got to look after that, or at least train the people who actually create the raw data how to do it themselves. So I do think there are going to be new roles. Let's see. Next one. Data management is all stick, no carrot. This is from Ian Stahl, Informatica. Data marketplaces change that equation and deliver ROI. Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to govern your data, right? It's just no one really gets excited about attending the data governance meeting. But all of a sudden, when you productize data, you by default have to govern it, right? And by publishing data products, there's all kinds of benefits that can accrue, ROI being one of them. And I think Didier mentioned some others below here. I thought it was a good quote from Ian Gilbert of Revelate. Data consumers want insights and simplicity, not data. It's like, duh, yeah, you're right. I think he was kind of criticizing me for focusing on fourth generation architecture, right? I think his corollary here was it's not about the architecture. It's not even about the data. It's about the insights that the data drives. And our goal as technologists is to make it as easy and simple as possible for people to get those insights.
Yeah, I agree. And it actually plays to Ian's first point there, which is focusing on data consumers and making sure they're getting the value they need.
Right.
There's always the tendency to view data as good in its own right and share it for the sake of sharing it.
Oh, okay. And here's the Didier quote. It's not just about ROI, it's about strengthening partnerships, cultivating ecosystems, fostering trust. And Dawex does a good job doing all those things with their customers. All right, number 6, data marketplaces need to deliver an exquisite customer experience like Shopify. So that was from Ian Gilbert. We already talked about that. So this was interesting. From Informatica, Ian said, our buyer isn't the data consumer or even the data seller, it's the data operator. And I think that's probably true for, I don't know, like CoreLogic. They do they're a seller hub, so they do a hub, right? But their focus is, I guess their focus is the consumer, you know? So that's what made it a little bit difficult to put together that framework, is that there's actually 3 different constituencies in this market with very different requirements and needs. Okay, I think this is the last. Our data marketplace needs to engender trust in data. Okay, that's from Didier. We already talked about that. And I think that's it, Kevin. Right on time.
All right.
Everyone comes to our next tech event on modern data pipelines that Kevin Petrie, he'll be the keynoter and running that show. And then we've got these other events in 2003, one on data intelligence. That's kind of like metadata management, data cataloging, active metadata. And then in August, data mesh and data fabric. And then finally, in December, data observability. So with that, Kevin, any last words?
No, great topic. As I said, I'll be thrilled to see what the CDO TechFin conversation is like in 18 months to see how the industry evolves. Role of data science and the degree to which we can have governed data products. It'll be a very interesting set of developments over the next 18 months.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you, everybody. If you've lasted this long, we give you all kinds of gold stars. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.